We are making a journey to the most remote area of southwestern Tanzania, far from where people normally go, to have an encounter with the Hadzi Bushmen, a 40,000-year-old ancient culture, almost a Stone Age culture that has very, very little contact ever with the modern world. These people own nothing. They have no house to live in. They have no property. They don't have cows and they don't have sheep. They simply hunt and gather every day. And we wanted to understand two things about modern life. Firstly, what is war all about? Why do we fight? Why do we have wars? And secondly, we wanted to find out why we have infertility. In these hunter-gatherer societies, I talk to all of the men and the women, and they do not understand what the word infertility even means. There is no such thing as infertility in these societies, and I wanted to understand why. Going for many hundreds of miles southwest, we travel backwards in time until we find the Bushmen, and we hunt with them and relive with them their lives, which are what our lives were like 40,000 years ago, when we were simply hunters and gatherers in a wide open space, owned nothing, and had peace of mind. We are at the highest point now, overlooking all of Hadzi land, land which they don't own, land which no one owns, because ownership is not a concept of the Hadzi. Early morning, just before sunrise. Perfect night. There's Kuunda tending the fire.
Solo kila aina duka tumika akutuka area be. Ika koko bio mtu. Weche tama musika. Weche tama musika. Utema. Kendo kwa kikongo ila kwa abani jombo na chicken wa ina. Amiki kusitisha no tubuke uteleni. Kwa
the arrows that you just saw them make, which they can put together in an hour, have poison on the tip that come from this beautiful desert rose. And everyone joins in the hunt, both young and old. This is the way of life. This is what they do all day long, from 6:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night, every day. And they are opportunists. If they happen to kill an impala, that is great. But otherwise, they gather berries or they gather honey. They always find food one way or another. baobab tree, and they just started a fire with hot coal that one of them was carrying around for all times. And they're going to smoke out these bees so they can get the honey out of their hive. Meanwhile, other guys are picking these berries off the bush in front of the berry tree. He uses it just like an ice axe to help climb up. And I got those pegs they put in the tree for this purpose. And they climb up those pegs. Otherwise you could never climb this tree. Doesn't seem to be afraid about getting stung, but they're... Bees are flying out. He got rid of the fleas and the bees. Got rid of the bees, and he's throwing the honeycomb down where the guys are collecting it. Doesn't seem to be afraid of those bees. A lot of bees flying around, catching the honeycomb. Lots to eat there. Got all those sting marks where the bee stung his hand. And he's pulled them all out. There's honey all over his hand. Now he's relaxing and having a smoke. Oh my gosh. And there it is. Look at that. What a lunch. Hot lunch. Piece of bark that they brought the honey out on, and it is finished. The bark is a nice, handy plate for the bush. You can see some of the bees are still alive, and they just grab the honeycomb, and some of the bees are still there. That was a big lunch. Jeez. The next day, we go hunting for monkeys. Monkeys hiding in the tree. This is the real delicacy of the Bushmen, and it requires incredible skill and a lot of courage, because many of these arrows that are poison-tipped find their way down just as quickly as they go up. Once they successfully complete their hunt, the monkeys are thrown into the fire, not really to cook it, but to simply burn off the hair so that it's easier to eat without any utensils. And at the end, they burn the head, and that delicacy, the facial muscles, are given to the one who actually shot the monkey as a special source of honor to him. They unselfishly offered to let us join in their meal, but we preferred the peanut butter and crackers that we brought. After spending this time living with the Hadzi in their ancient ways, we realized that war results from ownership, greed, and the desire for more and more possession. And where there is nothing to possess and no items to own, there is no war. Perhaps more importantly for my scientific interest, we discovered the major reason that they don't have infertility. They get married at a very young age, 13, 14, or 15, and generally die of old age by the mid-30s. In fact, I was one of the very oldest persons they'd ever seen. Even in our modern world, infertility is rare among teenagers, almost unheard of, and increases in frequency as the woman gets older. In these ancient hunter-gatherer societies, the way we used to live 40,000 years ago, we didn't put off childbearing until we completed our education or figured out who the right mate was, but rather mated very soon after puberty and had children shortly thereafter. The reason for the modern infertility epidemic is simply that life is so complex that it takes us so long to be prepared for being parents that by the time we are ready to do so, there is a huge decline in the fertility of our eggs.